In the quaint town of Willowbrook, nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering forests, life moved at a leisurely pace. The cobblestone streets meandered past quaint cottages adorned with blooming flowers, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of honeysuckle and pine. At the heart of Willowbrook stood a modest farmhouse, home to the Cartwright family. Margaret Cartwright, a formidable woman with steely gray eyes and a commanding presence, ruled over the household with an iron fist. Widowed at a young age, Margaret had dedicated her life to raising her daughter, Eliza, with lofty aspirations and unwavering determination. Eliza Cartwright was the jewel of Willowbrook, a beacon of kindness and grace in the tight-knit community. With her radiant smile and gentle demeanor, she endeared herself to all who crossed her path. Blessed with a sharp mind and a passion for learning, Eliza harbored dreams of becoming a teacher and imparting knowledge to the children of Willowbrook. Despite her mother's ambitions for her, Eliza's heart yearned for something beyond the confines of Willowbrook. It was on a crisp autumn day, as the leaves danced in hues of gold and crimson, that she met Michael Hawthorne. Michael was Willowbrook's resident dreamer, a young man with a heart as big as the endless skies that stretched above the town. With his tousled brown hair and warm brown eyes, he exuded a quiet charm that drew Eliza to him like a moth to a flame. Their first encounter was serendipitous, a chance meeting at the town's annual harvest festival. As they danced beneath the twinkling stars, laughter bubbling forth like a babbling brook, Eliza felt a connection with Michael that she couldn't explain. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Eliza and Michael's bond deepened, blossoming into a love that transcended time and circumstance. They stole moments together in secluded meadows and whispered secrets beneath the ancient oak tree that stood sentinel on the outskirts of town. But their love was not without its challenges. In a town where tradition reigned supreme, the union of a Cartwright and a Hawthorne was unthinkable. Margaret, ever the pragmatist, could not fathom her daughter squandering her potential on a penniless dreamer. Thus began the tug-of-war between mother and daughter, as Margaret sought to steer Eliza towards a more suitable match. Yet, try as she might, she could not extinguish the flame of Eliza and Michael's love. And so, amidst the idyllic backdrop of Willowbrook, the stage was set for a tale of love and struggle, where the echoes of one woman's defiance would reverberate through the corridors of time. As the seasons shifted and the vibrant colors of autumn gave way to the frosty embrace of winter, Eliza and Michael's love continued to flourish in secret. They stole moments of stolen kisses and whispered promises, finding solace in each other's arms amidst the chill of the winter winds. But their clandestine meetings did not go unnoticed. Rumors began to swirl through the town like fallen leaves on a blustery day, whispered hushed tones and exchanged glances casting suspicion upon the young couple. Margaret, ever vigilant, sensed the growing rift between herself and her daughter. With each passing day, her attempts to dissuade Eliza from pursuing Michael grew more desperate, her words laced with thinly veiled threats and veiled disapproval. Yet, for all her efforts, Margaret could not extinguish the flame of Eliza's love. It burned bright and fierce, a beacon of hope amidst the shadows that threatened to engulf them. One fateful evening, as the snow fell softly upon the rooftops of Willowbrook, Eliza made a decision that would change the course of her life forever. With trembling hands and a heart heavy with uncertainty, she confessed her love for Michael to her mother. Margaret's reaction was swift and unforgiving. Her face contorted with anger, she railed against her daughter, her words a bitter torrent of scorn and disappointment. She could not fathom how Eliza could throw away everything she had worked so hard to achieve for the sake of a fleeting romance. But Eliza stood her ground, her resolve unshakable. She refused to be swayed by her mother's pleas and threats, her love for Michael a guiding light in the darkness that surrounded her. And so, as the snow continued to fall outside, mother and daughter stood locked in a battle of wills, each refusing to yield to the other's demands. In that moment, the chasm between them widened, the bonds of love strained to their breaking point. But amidst the turmoil and strife, Eliza found strength in the knowledge that she was not alone. For by her side stood Michael, his love a steadfast anchor in the tempest of uncertainty that threatened to engulf them. And so, as the winter nights grew long and the days stretched into eternity, Eliza and Michael's love burned bright and true, a beacon of hope amidst the darkness that threatened to consume them. With Eliza's steadfast refusal to yield to her mother's wishes, Margaret's desperation grew like a festering wound. She could not bear the thought of her daughter throwing away the opportunity she had worked so tirelessly to provide. Determined to salvage what remained of her plans for Eliza's future, Margaret devised a scheme as cunning as it was cruel. She began to orchestrate a marriage between Eliza and a wealthy widower who had recently arrived in Willowbrook, a man rumored to possess vast fortunes and influential connections. The widower, Mr. Aldridge, was a man of advancing years, his weathered face etched with lines of experience and authority. He arrived in Willowbrook in a grand carriage, pulled by a team of sleek horses, his entourage of servants trailing behind him like shadows in the night. Margaret saw in Mr. Aldridge the perfect match for Eliza, a man who could provide her with the security and stability she so desperately needed. And so she set about weaving her web of deception, spinning lies and half-truths to entice Mr. Aldridge into agreeing to the match. Eliza recoiled at the thought of marrying a man she barely knew, let alone loved. She could not fathom spending the rest of her days bound to a stranger, her heart forever yearning for the love she shared with Michael. But Margaret was relentless in her pursuit of her goals. She employed every tactic at her disposal, from flattery and coercion to outright manipulation, in her efforts to bend Eliza to her. As the days turned into weeks and Mr. Aldridge's presence loomed larger over Willowbrook, Eliza found herself trapped in a web of deceit from which there seemed to be no escape. She felt suffocated by the weight of her mother's expectations, her dreams slipping through her fingers like grains of sand. Meanwhile, whispers began to spread through the town like wildfire, casting doubt upon Margaret's intentions and the true nature of her alliance with Mr. Aldridge. Some questioned the sincerity of Margaret's motives, while others whispered of darker secrets hidden beneath the surface. But amidst the turmoil and strife, Eliza found strength in the knowledge that she was not alone. For by her side stood Michael, his love a steadfast anchor in the tempest of uncertainty that threatened to engulf them. And so, as the tension in Willowbrook reached a fever pitch, Eliza and Michael stood united against the forces that sought to tear them apart, their love a testament to the power of the human spirit in the face of adversity. As the pressure from Margaret and the looming presence of Mr. Aldridge intensified, Eliza found herself caught in a whirlwind of emotions. Despite the turmoil, she clung fiercely to her love for Michael, drawing strength from their bond as they faced the trials ahead together. With each passing day, Eliza's resolve only strengthened. She refused to be cowed by her mother's machinations, her determination to carve out a future on her own terms burning bright within her. In the quiet moments stolen away with Michael, amidst the rustling leaves of the forest or the flickering glow of candlelight, Eliza found solace. Their love was a sanctuary, a refuge from the storm that raged outside. Yet as her pregnancy progressed, Eliza found herself grappling with a new set of challenges. The weight of carrying a child, coupled with the strain of her strained relationship with Margaret, took its toll on her both physically and emotionally. Despite her best efforts to shield herself from her mother's cruelty, Eliza found it increasingly difficult to ignore the barbs and jibes that were hurled her way. Margaret's words cut deeper than any blade, leaving wounds that festered and refused to heal. But amidst the darkness that threatened to consume her, Eliza found moments of light. From the kind words of neighbors to the supportive gestures of friends, she was reminded that she was not alone in her struggle. And through it all, Michael remained her unwavering rock, his love a constant source of strength and comfort. Together they weathered the storm, their bond forged in the fires of adversity. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, Eliza's belly swelled with the promise of new life. With each flutter of movement beneath her skin, she felt a renewed sense of purpose, a determination to protect the life growing within her at all costs. And so, as the world outside continued to spin on, Eliza stood tall in the face of adversity, her spirit unbroken, her love undiminished. For she knew that no matter what trials lay ahead, she would face them with courage and grace, guided by the light of her love for Michael and their unborn child. As the weeks passed and Eliza's pregnancy progressed, a sense of foreboding settled over Willowbrook like a heavy blanket. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon, heralding the arrival of a powerful storm that would test the resolve of all who called the town home. It was on a particularly stormy night, with lightning flashing across the sky and thunder rumbling ominously in the distance, that Eliza's labor began. Alone in her small cottage, with only the howling wind and pounding rain for company, she braced herself for the ordeal ahead. With each contraction, Eliza's grip on reality slipped further away. The pain was unbearable, a searing agony that threatened to consume her whole. But through the haze of pain and exhaustion, she clung to one thought, one hope: Michael would come for her. Meanwhile, Michael raced against time, his heart pounding with fear and desperation as he battled against the elements. The wind whipped at his clothes, threatening to push him off course, but still he pressed on, driven by a love that knew no bounds. As he finally reached Eliza's cottage, he found her writhing in agony, her face contorted with pain. With trembling hands, he helped her onto the makeshift bed, his heart breaking at the sight of her suffering. Together they weathered the storm, each contraction bringing them closer to the moment of truth. And then, in the dim light of the flickering lantern, their daughter entered the world, her cries piercing the stillness of the night. In that moment, as Michael held their newborn daughter in his arms, a sense of peace washed over him. The storm still raged outside, but within the walls of their small cottage, there was only love and joy. And as the first light of dawn broke through the clouds, casting a golden glow over the town of Willowbrook, Eliza, Michael, and their daughter emerged from the darkness, their bond stronger than ever before. For they had weathered the storm together, and nothing could ever tear them apart. As dawn broke over Willowbrook, the storm began to subside, leaving in its wake a sense of calm and renewal. In the soft light of morning, Eliza, Michael, and their newborn daughter found themselves surrounded by a newfound sense of peace. Yet amidst the tranquility, there lingered a palpable tension between Eliza and her mother, Margaret. Years of resentment and bitterness had built a wall between them, a barrier that seemed insurmountable. But as Eliza cradled her daughter in her arms, a sense of clarity washed over her. She realized that despite everything that had transpired between them, Margaret was still her mother, and she could not bear the thought of being estranged from her forever. And so, with a heavy heart and trembling hands, Eliza extended an olive branch to her mother, offering her forgiveness and reconciliation. Margaret, overcome with emotion, accepted her daughter's gesture with tears of gratitude, her heart heavy with regret for the pain she had. In the days that followed, a fragile peace descended upon the Cartwright household as mother and daughter tentatively began to rebuild their fractured relationship. They shared meals together, exchanged stories and laughter, and slowly but surely the wounds of the past began to heal. Meanwhile, Michael remained a constant presence in their lives, his love unwavering and steadfast. Together, they navigated the challenges of parenthood, finding strength and solace in each other's arms. And through it all, Margaret stood by their side, her love for her daughter shining bright as the sun. She had learned from her past mistakes and vowed to spend the rest of her days making amends for the pain she had caused. In the end, love had triumphed over adversity, and the Cartwright family emerged from the darkness stronger and more resilient than ever before. For they knew that no matter what trials lay ahead, they would face them together, united in love and forgiveness. Years passed in the peaceful town of Willowbrook, and the echoes of Eliza and Michael's love story lingered in the hearts of its residents. The small cottage where they had weathered the storm together became a symbol of hope and resilience, a reminder that love could conquer even the greatest of challenges. Eliza fulfilled her dream of becoming a teacher, her passion for education shining bright as she imparted knowledge to the children of Willowbrook. Michael, ever the dreamer, pursued his own aspirations, finding fulfillment in his work and in the love of his family. Their daughter grew into a remarkable young woman, her spirit as vibrant as the wildflowers that bloomed in the meadows of Willowbrook. With the love and guidance of her parents and grandmother, she embarked on her own journey, eager to carve out a future filled with promise and possibility. As for Margaret, she found redemption in the love of her family, her heart overflowing with gratitude for the second chance she had been given. She devoted herself to serving the community of Willowbrook, using her influence and resources to uplift those in need. And so, as the sun set on the picturesque countryside town, Mr. Thompson and Emily embarked on separate journeys, their paths diverging but their hearts forever entwined. For they had learned that sometimes, love can blossom in the most unexpected of places, even between those who once despised each other. And though their love had been forbidden, it had been real, a testament to the enduring power of the human heart. And as the stars twinkled overhead, casting their soft light upon the town below, the echoes of love and struggle that had once filled the air were replaced by a sense of peace and contentment. For in the end, love had triumphed, and the Cartwright family had found their happily ever after. Thanks for watching. Please do well to subscribe on my channel.